Hi, welcome to educator.com and another Adobe Illustrator CS6 lesson. And today we're talking about colors. So let's get right into it. Now with colors, you want to be concerned about what mode you're working in. Now the default mode is CMYK, which is for print. So you want to make sure when you first open a file, you get this dialog box, and here's where you can choose what mode. Here you see advanced color mode and 300 dpi. So if we click that, so now here's the difference between CMYK and RGB, which is the other color mode that you have available here. RGB is for electronic transmission over monitors, and CMYK is for print. All right, so you don't want to use any RGB colors if something is going to be printed. That would be bad news. Okay, so we're going to leave everything the way it is here, but if you wanted to design something for the web or something that's going to be broadcast on TV, choose RGB. You get a smaller file, and the colors will be matched precisely, which we'll get into more later. Okay. Don't want a new file, so we'll just close that and get back to color. So here's RGB and CMYK. So let's talk about this. Let's do a little bit of color, things that just deal with color so you can have an understanding. I mean, you can find out more on Wikipedia about color, but if you just listen to and follow the instructions I give you about RGB and CMYK, that will be all you need to know in order to do any work in Illustrator. So RGB stands for red, green, and blue. RGB is light colors. All these colors together form white, and that's for monitors, for broadcast. That's why I kind of give it a digital effect when I put RGB there. Now CMYK stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. People think it's black, but no, otherwise if it was black, because all the other ones start with the first letter. So this one starts with K, and the K is for key. So this is the key plate that the cyan, magenta, and yellows are aligned to. So the key plate, they're keyed to the black color. All right, so it's the key plate. So when you're doing printing, you see registration marks. This is the plate everything's registered to. Okay, so that's a basic explanation. Again, if you want to find out more, look on Wikipedia, and we're not going to go into color theory and all of that. This is just some basic information for you to use. And now we're going to get into the colors. So let's go to our little handy check mark here. So I talked about color modes, which are RGB and CMYK. And if I can get on the right layer, okay. So first thing checked off. Okay, so now let's talk about how to create and apply colors. You can start with your stroke and fill box down here. Whatever on top, right now the fill is on top, that's the one that's color is going to change. I can go to the stroke box, click that, and that comes on top. And if I want to change the positions, I hit those two arrows, and they'll go back and forth and change position. And if I hit the keyboard D, then I get black and white. Okay, now another way to do it is up here in the control panel, which you don't have to worry about what's on top because you can choose exactly what you want, fill or stroke. Now I can double click down here in the fill box, and up comes the color picker. And I can choose any color in here that I stop on, or I can choose something in this spectrum range. Or I can choose what I want numerically. HSB, which is huge saturation brightness. RGB, which is for the web, not for the web, but for broadcast electronic monitors. And not for the web only, I should say. And CMYK, which is for print. So I can put my percentages in here. And these percentages are the percentage of ink that is mixed for print. Now here you see a box called Only Web Safe Colors. Now if I check that, then you see this color becomes reduced. Now this is again some brief history here. When computer monitors first came out, they could only display 256 colors, very limited palette. And also the Mac and PC monitors only had 216 colors that matched, so 40 colors didn't match at all. So those 216 colors became the web safe palette. So right now that has no relevance today because we can display millions of colors on the monitors. Now the only helpful thing from it is that you do have RGB colors which you can specify by numbers, and these are the hexadecimal colors that correspond to the 216 web safe colors. So if you know those numbers, you can use it. Again, look up Wikipedia to get more information on it. Excuse me. So from 256 colors to millions of colors. So this is why we get this smooth range of colors today. Okay, so that's the color picker. So that's one way to get some colors. Now let's go over to our color guide, which is conveniently open. For some reason it opens automatically when I'm picking colors over here. And you can see you have a spectrum here that you can change, and you can shrink that if you like, because you really don't need all that space if you don't want it. And also here I can choose grayscale, RGB, HSB, and web safe. So again, all the numbers are chosen. So for instance, if I want the web safe complement to the CMYK color, this gives me the numbers here. So I go back to CMYK, and these are the colors that I've chosen. Okay, now let's go to the color guide. Okay, the color guide gives me the shade and tints of the color. Now if you look at this arrow here in the middle, that's the original color. Everything to the left of it are the shades, and everything to the right are the tints. And here I just clicked on the tint and changed it there. So I don't want to do that right now. What I want to do now is show you that you can get a range of tints. Right now there's 4 steps on each side of the original color. So let's say you need more to do. So go to color guide options. I click the triangle in the right hand corner. And now I can change the number of steps. So I can make that 6. And you can see that changed right here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 on this side also. Also, I can change the amount of variation, making that less to more. So you can see that lower it goes, the closer it stays to the original color. Now, so 100% is usually good because then you get the maximum variation. I mean, what's the sense if you're going to choose a shade of a tint if it doesn't have that much variation? But sometimes you may want that minute, maybe some kind of perfectionist. So that's that. So I'm just going to cancel that now, go back to the 4. And that is the color guide. Now, and whatever color is selected here becomes the color that's the main color, it's the base color. So if I select that here, then this becomes the base color that the tints are chosen off of. So let me go back to my main color. All right, now you can edit or apply your colors here. So this is to recolor. We're going to get back to this a little bit later. So this is for recoloring artwork. So these are the options that you have in here, and also you have document. You can change. These are some pre-selected color things that are done. We're going to get to this a little bit later also, but again, I just want to show you there's many areas where you can select the main thing. So these are like many color swatches that you can use. Okay, so that is the color guide. So I already had color guide, so now let's go to swatches. Okay, swatches is the main thing you probably use a lot. But again, it depends on your work habits. So I use it a lot, and you may use it a lot too. So here's a color that's selected. So whenever a color that you've used in your document is selected, it'll appear here. And if I hover over that, and this is in RGB, that's because we're working in the RGB space. Now let me show you how to